We'll look at facts behind the figures. I'm joined by Reginald Ihejiahi, the CEO of Fidelity Bank. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Reginald.
Thank you, Annie.
All right, let's go into your results for today. Now, non-interest income grew 65% in 2012. Now, can you highlight the key drivers of this growth?
Well, basically, you will see that we recruited many more new customers. We've been on branch expansion for a while, and that also has given us access to a lot of non-interest business. We also have been very efficient in the management of our balance sheet in 2012, especially our hard currency balance sheet. So it's just a plethora of a lot of things that have been able to contribute to this, and we expect this to continue in 2013.
All right, now positive outlook you have there. Now, how much growth do you anticipate in non-interest income in 2013? I mean, considering the central bank's new policy to cap cash on commission.
Well, the thing about the cap is actually for a bank like us, average commission on turnover we have been charging is actually well below 3%. 3 per mil. So this change in the rule actually is not going to have the kind of impact that probably an outsider would be expecting. On the contrary, we want to continue to grow customer headcount, and we want to continue to grow activity in terms of market share for the customers we have. We think this will pass through as, again, further increase in non-interest income in 2013.
Now, is the bank proposing to pay a dividend on this result?
Yes, we have proposed to pay a dividend of 21 kobo per share, and it gives you at current prices a yield of close to 7%, which is very good in the market space today. I also want to point out that for the past 10 years, Fidelity has always paid dividends every year, and I think that's also part of why you're seeing the kind of activity on our stock. It's a very liquid stock, highly tradable, and that's the way we've positioned it these past 10 years.
All right, well, describe your approach to lending to SMEs. I mean, how much, did your loan book to SMEs grow in 2012, and what's your growth projection for 2013? It's going to be, I'm personally anticipating a very interesting answer from you right now, knowing that, the SMEs, it's been a general complaint about, access to loans from the bank. But what's Fidelity Bank's stance on that?
Well, that's a general complaint in the industry, but for us, we take a long-term view. We think 2013 going forward with the development in electricity, especially, which is a key issue if you're trying to start a small business. Yeah. You don't want to provide your own power from day one. We think with also better advisory service and better selection of the kind of SMEs you want to support, because partner involvement is very key. We think that there's this opportunity in that space to grow SME. We're doing some interesting things at 2 levels. At the really micro level, they're going to be managed out of our branches. At the more senior level, if we will call it that way, we're working hard on various value chains. But the first thing we do for SMEs is actually to give them advisory. Most SMEs need direction. People come because they want to pursue their passion, but passion is one thing, but you need to be sure where you're headed. So we're building up what we call a managed SME business. I think we're doing some things that are very innovative. We plan to have full launch sometime in the next month or so. But before that, we've been doing some dry runs. We'd work with IFC on this for quite some time. So we're quite excited at that opportunity. But let me also tell you that the other areas we're excited about in 2013. Agric is an area that has been of interest to us. We've done proof of concept on a couple of projects in 2012, some actually in 2011, and we want to see some of that continue in 2013 going forward. The third area, of course, is oil and gas. Oil and gas currently is less than 20% of our loan book. We see a lot of headroom. We signed 2 agreements, MOUs, first with Shell in 2012, and then recently with SNEPCO, actually last week, which is part of Shell, but a different segment of its business. Now, what that will introduce is going to give us access to contractors who work for these 2 entities. Mm-hmm. It's also going to help us fast forward a lot of the ambition that you see about the local content policy. And it's going to be a sizable contribution to our business towards, I think, the second or third quarter of 2013, and then more possibly, I think, in 2014. Right. So that's another area of interest to us.
Well, I guess that's something we'll be looking forward to. Now, the bank's cost of funds has risen from 3.4% to 5.9%. Now, that's a situation attributed to the tight monetary policy environment. Now, assuming that the MPC maintains this policy stance, How do you see your cost of funds changing in 2013?
In 2013, we're actually forecasting a diminution in cost of funds because, again, we've been having an aggressive promo running on savings, which is going very, very well. We have ambitions for the size of the savings book we want to see by end of 2013. So this will going to pass through and express itself in lower cost of funds for Fidelity. But every day we are broadening the nature of our business, and I think we're also working very hard on the service side. We're doing very interesting things on service side. So we're not too much concerned as to what the impact will be in terms of tight monetary policy in 2013. We're actually looking at a reduction in cost of funds.
All right now. So what are your targets for loan and deposit growth for 2013?
If you see what we did in 2012, loans grew roughly a little over 20%. Deposits were well ahead of loans by 27%. In 2013, we will be happy to achieve those kinds of ballpark figures in 2013.
Well,
it could actually be slightly higher than that.
Well, in a nutshell, I'm going to take you back to your what we talked about on SMEs. You know, you talk about a couple of things the banks are doing to ensure, you know, SMEs are supported. Now, from all you've said, what do you see as a major factor, as a major challenge that might hinder this positive outlook you've given already?
Well, I think that on the contrary, we see a more benign environment in 2013 continuing for SMEs. I've mentioned changes in electricity, which is very important for SMEs. I think access to capital will improve for SMEs in 2013. But the most important thing, I think, for SMEs beyond the two factors I've mentioned is actually the hand-holding. SMEs require nurturing. They require motivating. And the SME principles also require discipline. And you've got to be able to work with the SMEs in that kind of environment, in that kind of atmosphere, if you have a really serious ambition to transit them to be significant corporates down the line. And that's the way we're approaching it.
All right, then. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. I've been speaking with the CEO of Fidelity Bank, Reginald Ihijiahe. Well, after the break, we will be looking at industrialization and steel exportation in Nigeria with Vasily Babaropoulos, the MD, Nigerian Foundries and Chairman, Manlock Group. Do stay with us.
We all need a helping hand, someone who understands, someone who's always there, someone who always cares. My brother, make you listen. This not be like a true story. Unity Bank don't come again, yeah. Simple banking for easy life. What's with them high? Unity. What's with me, yeah. Banking is easy. Welcome to Unity Bank. Oh, your education is. Bank will be your partner. Welcome to Unity Bank. We are bigger and better, stronger and higher. We be your friend and your partner. Unity Bank don't recharge, yeah. We they make people jolly. Banking don't easy. Succeeding together, growing together. For your education, bank will be a partner. Welcome to Unity Bank.
Unity Bank, succeeding together.